What's good? Rocking with your boy Zara Rice Reserve. First time ever I had to restart it, but it's not because of any mistake. The video actually cut off, but let me give the shout outs. I'll run through it again. It's freestyling. That's how I do this. At the top, I want to shout out to Lily Martinez because what I'm about to talk about, she actually was in the era of thought around the subject that I was trying to kick to you. I also want to take time to get Princess Amanda TV, and I'm going to answer her question. Shout to her following me for a minute. Now, quickly, you mentioned the girlfriends. I want to say that when you're young, you make decisions to quarrel on and off with people. So you're not always in good standing in a relationship. So you may be single and on and off again. He had in a relationship on some off-brand media profiles that he had used to market and grow himself. So we can't say objectively that he was not with or without someone. So was he single? He may have said it, but his profile show otherwise when we look at other things that I've been sent by commenters. Now, at this point, I want to say shout out Kareem Morgan. She sent me some breaking information, and it's actually mind-blowing, and I'm going to say this. All my videos were hitting the right spot. That's all I can say for now. I have to do some research myself to second guess this information to see into it, but I may allegedly be in a position to get an interview with his mom if everything goes right. That's just how it plays out. That's just what the situation is. And, you know, if I do have something like that coming to you guys, I'm going to let you know ahead of time, and I'll make sure the commenters do get their chance to be involved. I would actually like a situation where you could call in and ask questions. That would be pretty dope, because that's what I learned from my mentors, and I see that that's the most effective way for information to be gained. But again, you know, I had to restart it, so I'm going to just get into it. What we're going to talk about right now is jealousy, motives, and mindset. You see, with this new information, it actually opens up a larger brand of what we were talking about at an earlier point in time, and it's more informative than I ever expected it to be, honestly. That's why I'm really unsure how I'm going to address this situation. I mean, down to the point where I have a contact that is allegedly in affiliation with contacting the people who were guidance in his life now. Shout to Kareem Morgan again. I never expected to get that type of information. Again, I'll give you all the respect at the top of anything that we talk about, because without you, I wouldn't have been able to even get close to that. Now, something we got to address is the jealousy. And this could come in two ways. The reason I mentioned if he was set up by one of these women, the jealousy of each other being in a superstar's life, a millionaire superstar's life, would have been a very prevalent reason of jealousy or hatred to even be in effect. We know this because we see many superstars dealing with women, getting in domestic abuse situations, and even allegedly having to deal with other family on the side because they can't treat women right. We see this in the media every day. We know big name stars. We don't have to run through the name because we understand and see how it's going. Now, to an investigation look, it changes the game. And I'm starting to see why the witness said uncle. That would be the only thing. That's the only thing I can co-sign on him. Now, we don't have security footage, but I can co-sign why he would say uncle versus anything else he might have said. So that's one of the main things that I wanted to put out there. And if the information I received from Kareem Morgan makes sense, that would be a viable thing. That would be something that I'm able to take into consideration because, guys, it blows my mind. And everything makes sense down to the first on the scene video I had. Go check that out again if you didn't see it. First on the scene is in the title when I'm talking about the witness and the news anchor. All of this is beginning to add up in a very, let's say, concerning way. That's why I'm just being very careful about how I'm going to address it, because I don't like putting people out there if the information I have may be shaky and it just may be speculation. I don't play with that. We play with objectivity. Now, down to another point that I want to make about motive and mindset. Do you believe it was financial? Do you believe it was strictly out of hatred? Now, one point I want to add in, because those are the two normal mindsets. I don't know what the exact mindset was. It could dance on those two. But let's say because we know he was at ease in the store. He was comfortable regardless of who was around, whether he knew he was around real gangsters or not, or let's say savages in their craft, because the history of these individuals, it couldn't have been unknown. He had to have known or seen them before. But what I'm trying to hint at is the fact that he may have had such respect and admiration for the people involved that he never thought anything was funny. So, for instance, if I showed up with an adult I had respect for, in a sense, there wouldn't have been any thoughts this person has no good intentions for me. The only thing would have been is that this person wasn't around for me, is what he should have thought of and said, well, since they're not around for me, why would they be showing up with all this cash on me? And why would I expect them to have my back if anything went down? That would be the only thing he's at fault for in this situation. Now, the reason I'm not going into detail, looking at it, examining exact titles of who it may have been, and I'm talking about the passenger that I think I now know, and if it is true with the information I received, it puts everything into perspective. I mean, from the first video I dropped to the last, it puts it all into perspective. But again, it's objectivity. Now, I don't get why he felt that was cool to do, being he didn't really know this person. But I understand the fact that even if security footage was released, but it wasn't. So I don't know who in authority down there might have been first on the scene after the first on the scene initial people. And that would explain why evidence is shaky and happening this way in favor of the setup rather than in favor of prosecuting who was actually involved. And that now would make me understand why Diedrich didn't understand that execution was going to occur, rather just a robbery. Everything would make sense. But that's what I'm saying. They're not releasing the right information, let alone any information that's given or held out there is not being examined correctly. That's what my problem is. So that's why I'm holding off on redoing some things, but we will revisit a scenario. We definitely will. And it's not going to be a solved video like I did for the earlier incident. It's going to be called re-examining the evidence objectively, basically, so that you understand that I'm giving heed to every part of it. But the motives and mindset had to be financial. If I'm looking at it, and in this, even in an objective way, there had to be some financial means. Why do I say that? Because he was egged on to make a withdrawal from the bank before heading to the area. So it had to rely around the finances, let alone I show up at a shop and I don't buy nothing with 50 cash on me, 50 grand on me, and I don't make no purchase. That doesn't sound right. And if the passenger is who it is, some of that begins to make sense. Now, something that was brought up earlier I thought was interesting was the fact that they have 4 men. There was 50,000 in there, and it said, was it 10,000 apiece? That maybe could be the case, but who took the fifth 10,000? Let alone, who were they getting the cues from? Even if the cues were coming from the cousin, I don't believe it was him in the car with him. And I say that because of the recent information I received. I could be wrong again, but it would make sense a lot of other things holding the cousin out of the situation. Other things begin to make sense. And that's why I'm saying I need to do some more research before I let you guys know what it is that I have. But yes, today, at this point, I do have some more very detailed information, down to the point where I probably have the means to not only contact his mother, but get an interview with his mother. That's how serious it is. So I'm being very careful on how we're going to approach this, because I want commenters to be able to interact, because you guys have many different minds that think and perspectives that I even cannot at times. So it would be validated and very influential if I was able to get commenters to call up and ask questions eventually. And that would be, let's say, the climax of this series, that you would get to interact with his mother and ask different things and communicate in a way that satisfies you guys. And That's what this channel is based on. My commenters is based on people that interact. I want you to get satisfaction in the situation, let alone me just objectively talk about issues that could occur and what could be. Because you guys speaking would bring you to your own conclusions on what is. So that's my thing. And that's why I'm being careful too, because of the people that they're saying were involved. And yes, I agree with some of you commenters. It was a team game. The thing is, when you don't know who's all on the team, you don't know who's going to be shooting out on a situation. So who was really making the shots, giving the calls? It could not be the people who I have the information on, but they are all different from the suspects they have arrested. That is why I'm kind of confused. No, they aren't celebrities, which is sicker to me. It's a sicker situation, the fact that they weren't celebrities. But I do begin to understand the gaps in information, how certain things were understood and known, and what details were given to give the shots and calls to allow people to head to the right spot. So as we look at mindsets and motives going forward and considering them financial, we are beginning to formulate a picture that may build to us understanding exactly what happened, security footage or no footage, to be real with you. Whether they release it or not is irrelevant at this point. We are beginning to understand the facts around the case, and when you do that, you begin to understand the mindset of individuals who could be involved. So stay tuned. Comment below. If you're new, subscribe to the channel. Czar's Notification Gang. Drop that hashtag Czar Notification Gang and link up with me and stay in tune. The Twitter is of Jaspera, OFJASPERRA. Hit me up on there if you have any information or things you want to talk about. And you know how I rock. All rights reserved.